Visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Base and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orit Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 10th day of September 2018. I trust that everyone had an enjoyable weekend. Lots of rain. Yesterday, well, needed rain as well, but we certainly had a lot of it. Had some again this morning, and I believe the weather forecast is that there's a 60% chance of showers during the course of today as well. Of course, we're into the peak of the hurricane season as well, and there are at least 3 storms that are churning their way towards the Caribbean and towards North America as well. So we see as Isaac approaches Jamaica, Jamaicans have been urged to stay on their guard as well. So we here in the Cayman Islands continue to monitor the situation as well, and we always want to be prepared. You want to heed all of the instructions that have been given to you prior to hurricane season, during hurricane season as well. You don't want to wait until the last second to make preparations, and you end up clogging up all of the roads, traffic coming to a gridlock. So again, be like a Boy Scout, be prepared. Before I get into, I all want to say big happy birthday to Lord Graham today. And if those of you who don't know who Lord Graham is, that's Mr. Graham Rankin, the fireworks man. A lot of people can have different nicknames for him as well. Tubbs. And he may be short, so if you can't see him, you certainly can hear him when he's around as well. So, Lord Graham, have a happy birthday. We're going to have a big cook-up down in Rockhole sometime before the weekend. That is combining your birthday, Hudson's birthday, and any more birthdays in that area as well. And while I'm at it, I'd like to wish a belated happy birthday, very, very much belated happy birthday to the Premier, Honorable Alden McLaughlin as well. His birthday was last week, Thursday. Of course, I didn't have a show on Thursday, so I was unable to wish him happy birthday on the air that day as well. And I'll just say to him, we have to resort back to the practice of in cycling where you double your age in miles. So I think the Premier is getting to that point now where he's going to soon have to be doing at least a century ride to double his age as well. Didn't want to give away his age, but just a little hint somewhere in that area. Getting close, if not already there as well. Roads of the Cayman Islands, when it's raining, be extremely careful as well. You would have heard this morning already that there was a 2-vehicle accident on Thomas Russell Way. at the junction, and not sure if it is cleared yet. When I crossed by there minutes to 7 this morning, both vehicles were still there, and emergency services were still on the scene as well. You want to drive carefully, cautiously, especially when the roads are wet, and in particular when it is raining, because as you know, when it's raining, your visibility is reduced. Your stopping distances should be increased because of the road surfaces as well. So be extremely careful out there, because the life that you save may just be your own. I want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. Of course, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Dorrit Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. Normally, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. This morning, it is the radio voice of DJ Lynn. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, you can email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record, at candw.ky. And, of course, we have a WhatsApp number. That WhatsApp number is 925-3261. You can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We are scheduled to have MLA and Councillor Austin Harris in the studio with us this morning. I think I announced that on Friday as well. He's not in the studio yet, but I am sure that he will be here as soon as possible. In the meantime, we will have open mic where you can talk about the various issues that you may want to discuss with us on the show. So I've given you all of those numbers that you can call in as well. And I trust that many of you, if not all, followed the proceedings of the Legislative Assembly that took place in Cayman Brac last week as well. And we'd like to talk. I'd like to start the conversation talking about the private member's motion and the defeat of that private member's motion in the Legislative Assembly, where the leader of the opposition was calling on the government to initiate a referendum on the port development. Of course, the opposition, leader of the opposition, I believe, indicated that they will now throw their support behind those who are in favor of a people's-initiated referendum, and they will continue to support them, seek the necessary number of signatures required to trigger a cabinet decision in that regard as well. Of course, as opposed to a referendum initiated in the Legislative Assembly and the government acting on that, as opposed to a people's-initiated referendum, there's a difference. There's a higher threshold to be reached on a people's-initiated referendum as well. So there are several hurdles that those who are involved in a people's-initiated referendum need to scale. They need to get over those hurdles as well. I still personally maintain that if those who are opposed to the port project as they believe it is being proposed now, if they are given the information that they claim that they're unable to get, that then both sides, if there is clear and distinct leadership on the side of those who oppose the cruise berthing project, if there's a defined leadership group there, then they should sit with the government. Hopefully the government would be receptive to that and see where the differences can be ironed out, where some compromises can be made, where the views and the concerns of those who oppose it in its current form can be addressed as well. Of course, you will have those hardliners who simply do not want the port project to move forward, and if they draw that hard line, then there's no place for compromise. Because remember, politics and this whole port project, you will hear people talking in various forms. At the end of the day, it is all about politics. It is all about politics. So, and politics has been described as being the art of compromise, being able to compromise. And that is what is needed at this point in time. My personal view, we need an improvement in the berthing facilities in the port project in Georgetown. My other personal view, and I'm no scientist, I'm no environmentalist, my personal view is that we do not need to change the current location of the berthing facilities. Why go and disturb and possibly destroy another pristine area of the Cayman Islands when we have already partially destroyed the Georgetown Harbor area? And what we should do there then is try to mitigate against further environmental damage rather than resorting to some other area as well and then destroying that. We have a few callers. We're going to take one caller, go to the break, and take another caller. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, we got enough. I just want to ask if you could find out from Councillor Harris when he come in, because, I mean, he knows me quite well. He's a very good friend of mine. What caused him to change his mind concerning the dock? Because I remember when he was on the Rooster, he spoke about it highly, that we didn't need a dock there, but maybe he got a good reason. So I would like for you to ask him that question when he comes in. And another suggestion, OC, you remember where Barbie was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you ask half of those people that is supporting this dock where Barbie is, they can't tell you where it was, because that was where we used to blame the sea all the time. That was our spot. Yeah,
well, between Barbie and Hogstye Bay, and of course it was, you were considered a good swimmer if you could swim from Hogstye Bay around to Barbie.
Yeah, that's true. That's where we grew up, all of us. But, my suggestion, we do need a port, but we don't need it there because that was designed by God. That's God's creation there, Rosie. And you know that. Your forefathers and my forefathers, we all would agree on that. We don't need to destroy that front area there. You know where be a good area for that dog? Pedro Castro. They ain't got no cruise ship yet. They ain't got no ship built in the world yet that the bottom can touch there and it could save government. a lot of money, mainly by dredging. They could save that money, and they got a lot of iron shore that they could build that port. That is where, and they could improve the Eastern District. That is where they need it, because they can't touch no bottom there, my friend. So that's just my idea. But you have a good day. Thank you.
Before you go, caller, though, before you go, you said you wanted to question Councillor, MLN Councillor Austin Harris in relation to his change of view in relation to the port project. So can you tell me what you believe or what you saw his view as being before?
That what?
Can you point out to me what was his view prior to his change in position in relation to it? What did he say? Do you and you don't have to say exactly what he said, but give me an idea in terms of what his position was before, that we shouldn't have a cruise berthing facility, that it should be in some other location, or what?
When he was on the rooster, because we used to call and talk about it all the time, he supported that they didn't need a cruise wasn't out there, because there were other Caribbean islands that didn't have any, and that the people still came off, and that if they didn't have any in Georgetown, the cruise ships were going to still come here, because this is one of the best stops in the island. But what I'm saying, I know Mr. Harris good, so he have a good reason why he changed his mind. And I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to take a commercial break now. We still have a few callers on hold. We're going to ask you to hang in there patiently. Quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your calls. Please stay tuned.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
The first recorded trading vessel between Jamaica and the Cayman Islands was the Bermuda sloop named the Experiment in 1744. One of the most valuable early accounts of Grand Cayman comes from naval hydrographer George Gauld, who made the first accurate map and recorded a detailed description of Grand Cayman in 1773. The first recorded Caymanian captain was William Bodden, captain of the schooner Susanna, which left Savannah Lamar for Grand Cayman in 1765. Bodden's son-in-law, William Eden, would go on to build Pedro Castle.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Cayman National Bank has been proudly serving the Cayman community for over 40 years. With over 7 customer service centers and ATMs located throughout Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman, Cayman National makes banking easy. Whether you're out dining, shopping, or playing, we invite you to visit our customer service center, conveniently situated at Camana Bay, which offers full-service banking along with ample parking. I invite you to visit us at Camana Bay, where banking blossoms.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Did you hear that Vamt Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah, and they have lots of cars on sale, some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly. And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vamt Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Can you explain what a less than container load is for shipment and what your minimum charge is?
Sure. A less than container load, or LCL, is any overseas shipment that does not require the full space of a container. At Seaboard, we have great rates for small packages. Just let us know the dimensions of your package and we'll help you out from there.
Shipping shore to shore.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
What if being in recovery from a mental or substance use disorder was something we proudly showed the world? Millions of people are in recovery, sharing hope and support with family, friends, and community. Join the Voices for Recovery.
If you, your family member, or friend are in need of support, please contact Department of Counseling Services at 949-8789.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record, with your host, Orrit Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller on hold, and I just want to say to that caller before I turn the mic over to them that unfortunately we missed a break, or we should have taken a commercial break earlier. As a result, we only have about 4-5 minutes the most before we go to the 8 o'clock news. So just keep watching your time, because at about 2 minutes to 8, we're going to have to break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC. It's Johan Moxham. How's it going?
I'm fine, Mr. Moxham. Good morning to you.
Just jumping straight into it, sir. I'm listening to your sort of commentary this morning. Always interesting to when you share your personal sort of views on things. And believe it or not, I agree with you in part. I would just pick you up on the comment of, given the significance of what is being contemplated, this project will be the largest and most expensive capital works project in the history of the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I understand cargo is the lifeblood of the island, and it is something that we need to basically look after ourselves. What I would say, sir, is given that perspective alone and the promises of the revitalization of Georgetown, wouldn't logic dictate that you start with cargo in order to get that sort of situation under control and right if you're going to legitimately revitalize central Georgetown? Because it's impossible for any business to thrive in the evening or any restaurants downtown if you've got the fear and the noise of big trucks. That's one sort of point that I'll make there, and after the break you can pick me up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Second point that I would make, sir, is it's very difficult for anybody to say that they can or cannot support the proposed port project when, as private citizens, because the reality of it is this. The leader of the opposition and his members of the opposition have said on your radio station, because I've called and asked, that they haven't received a sort of briefing from the Cayman Islands government at all on the state of the project. So therefore, it begs belief to assume that private citizens will be given an opportunity, especially those that have questions. And again, that leads me on to, just because you have questions about the fate of your country and the consequences that a project of this magnitude will take on does not necessarily mean that you are anti-port. It means that you want to have as much information as the pro-port lobbyists and the others who are in support and are used as mouthpieces. So if the opposition
but there are persons who are outrightly opposed to the port project, period. They don't want it, simply don't believe that it is necessary. So in addition to those who say, yes, we need it, but we need to look at it, there are those who are, ardently opposed to it.
That might be the case, but I take a more structured approach to life in the sense that I believe we all want the best for the country. We just have different views and reviewing it through a different perspective and lens. Ultimately, Cargo needs to be the thing, and that should be the primary focus. The issue that concerns me is you've got the National Tourism Plan pointing out some legitimate issues about the infrastructure and how fragile the tourism product is. Yet, in order for this sort of project to proceed, you're going to have to surpass 2.3 million cruise passengers per year. That leads into questions like, where are you going to put them? There is no real public beach anymore. There are no traditional sort of spots for all these people to go, so on and so forth. And more importantly, sir, you will recall, because I think you might have been cabinet secretary then, do you remember when McKeever Bush was the premier and a proposed deal with China Harbour led every single body up in arms, in particular the current leadership of the country, the premier and the deputy premier, who led marches and so on and so forth. China Harbour was a bad deal. It was riddled with alleged corruption and lack of transparency and lack of good governance. Yet here we are today, China Harbour, one of the top three bidders in the entire project. Now, I understand political expediency. I'll even say that I understand desperation for power and hypocrisy. But if that project and those bidders weren't good enough in 2011, 2012, how could they suddenly be good enough for the country in 2018?
Okay.
These are legitimate. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you because we have to go to that break now. We reach 7:59. I certainly would welcome you to call back. I'm still trusting that MLA and Councillor Harris will be here with us, but I would certainly welcome you to call back so that we can continue this conversation after the 8 o'clock news, if you will, caller.
I'll try.
Folks, we're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
All right, thank you, Mr. OC. The time is now 8 a.m., brought to you by friends over at Price Right.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Access to information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. The Ministry of Education announces a new national science education strategy. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
Inquire, Innovate, and Inspire. The new science education strategy will be implemented over the next 5 years with a goal of bringing science to the forefront for all schools. The national objective is to develop a passion for science by raising the level of scientific curiosity, skills, knowledge, and confidence of all students. A press release from the ministry says the goals include ensuring all students have access to high-quality science. That includes scientific inquiry-based skills, as well as subject knowledge, enhancing the quality of science-related teaching and learning through innovative school leadership and teaching capacity, as well as improving skills, engagement, and participation of students by developing science-related opportunities through partnerships with tertiary institutions, businesses, industries, and charities that inspire students to connect with scientific careers. All students, parents, guardians, and the general public are encouraged to read about the strategy, learn about the key performance indicators, and incorporate the spirit of the campaign not only in their school lives, but in their homes and businesses as well. Several activities and events are planned, including a pop-up science event from November 1st to the 3rd, and fun national scientific challenges on the Ministry of Education's social media channels on Facebook and Instagram. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
And a new biennial exhibition and award are set to launch next year at the National Gallery. And as Radio Cayman's Shonda Gallego reports, the call is now out for local artists to submit work on their very best Cayman artistic landscapes.
Artists are invited to submit work from a variety of media, including painting, photography, video, performance in prints, experimental film, and soundworks. Officials are inviting artists to submit photos of their work with an accompanying artist statement relating to the work to the exhibition synopsis for consideration in electronic format directed to the attention of the curator and assistant curator at nationalgallery.org.ky. Officials are looking at the exhibition as a multi-site project and will involve concurrent projects in select venues in Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Selected artwork will be featured in a 3-month-long exhibition at the National Gallery and in the accompanying exhibition catalog. Here, in addition, one exhibiting artist will be awarded the Jurors Selection Award with a monetary prize and the opportunity to develop a solo exhibition with the National Gallery. Deadline for submission is Monday, November 26th at 5 p.m. For all this and more, check out nationalgallery.org.ky. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
In regional news, in Jamaica, Trelawney's Aedes aegypti mosquito index has declined, according to the parish's chief public health inspector. Delroy Mawat told journalists that the parish's Aedes index, which is determined by the number of houses inspected divided by the number of mosquitoes found breeding, has lowered from 25% to 9.5% since the vector control operation started on July 29th. Trelawney has one suspected dengue fever-related death this year. The public health chief was among vector control workers who were on a public education and mosquito eradication drive in the parish. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton was among the vector control team in Hague on Friday. The move forms the part of the Health Ministry's island-wide campaign to eliminate breeding grounds for the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is responsible for transmitting diseases such as dengue and Zika. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with David Austin. Human Rights Watch has given a detailed account of what it says are secret re-education camps for Muslim Uyghurs in China's western region of Xinjiang. The report says inmates have to learn Mandarin Chinese and sing songs in praise of the Communist Party. China denies carrying out human rights abuses in Xinjiang. The head of the UN's nuclear watchdog has given a new warning about the threat from North Korea's nuclear program. Yukiya Amano said the North's ongoing activities were a deeply regrettable violation of UN Security Council resolutions and a cause for grave concern. Sweden's governing centre-left coalition has emerged marginally ahead of a centre-right alliance after Sunday's inconclusive general election. The far-right Sweden Democrats were the third-largest single party, with under 18% of the vote. And that's the latest BBC News.
Access to information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This September at Kirk Home Center, save on Pratt & Lambert Pro Hide Gold Interior Flat Latex Paint. 5 gallons for $99.99. And touch-up details with a 3-pack Pro Max paintbrush set for $10.99. Enjoy homemade dinners on a 30-piece white porcelain dinnerware set from Gibson for $31.09. Organize, store away, and declutter with storage totes starting at $12.79.
Kirk's Home Center. You got a great deal in store for you.
Tune in to Talk Today for the Celebrate Cayman giveaway contest. Celebrate Cayman is a national celebration of our culture, history, and community as we commemorate the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms. From August 27th to September 26th, Talk Today will be giving away daily prize bags for our resident history buffs. How well do you really know your Cayman history? Test your skills on Talk Today.
In financial news, European and Asian markets were mostly lower today after U.S. President Donald Trump suggested placing tariffs on an additional $267 billion in Chinese goods in a tit-for-tat dispute over trade. But a strong U.S. jobs report primed Wall Street for a higher opening. Keeping score in Europe, France's CAC 40 was almost flat in early trading at 5,251, while the FTSE 100 index of leading British shares gained 0.2% to 7,291. Germany's DAX fell 0.1% to 11,000. 26,950. U.S. indexes are set for a positive open. Dow futures added 0.3% to 26,029. The broader S&P 500 futures was 0.3% higher at 2,884. Looking at Asia's day, Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 climbed 0.3% to 22,337 after the country's gross domestic product surpassed expectations by growing at a 3% annual rate in the April-June quarter. The Kospi in South Korea gained 0.3% to 2,288. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index tumbled 1.3% to 26,613. The Shanghai Composite Index gave up 1.2% to 2,669. In energy, benchmark U.S. crude added 75 cents to $68.50 a barrel. The contract lost 2 cents to settle at $67.75 in New York. Brent crude, used to price international oils, gained $1.06 to $77.89 a barrel. In currencies, the dollar was flat at 111.06 yen. The euro rose to 1.1570 from 1.1566.
This weekend.
Cayman Up Close, a weekly special feature from Radio Cayman News.
I'm Shanda Gallego.
Shanda Gallego goes behind the scenes with Cayman's newsmakers, artists, and emerging talent to get their unique and personal experience, their real story.
This week, we turn the spotlight.
Sundays at noon, 6:10 p.m. and 10:10 p.m. and always online at radiocayman.gov.ky. Tune in for Cayman Up Close.
Cayman Up Close, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands for over 40 years.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
All right, for a look at the weather outside, the current temperature is at 84 degrees. Relative humidity is at 86%. Barometric pressure is at 29.89 inches and rising. Winds are coming in from the east-southeast at 5 knots. Overnight low was 74 degrees. Synopsis indicates cloudiness and showers associated with the interaction between a tropical wave and upper-level trough will continue to spread across the Cayman area today. Cayman area can expect improving conditions for this evening as the tropical waves move west of the Yucatan Peninsula. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the northwest. National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Helene. These storms pose no threat to the Cayman Islands. The NHC is also issuing advisories on Tropical Storm Isaac. This too poses no immediate threat to the Cayman Islands. For further information, please visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies, 60% chances of shower with some thunder. Showers may become locally heavy at times, leading to possible flooding in low-lying areas. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast, 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. With a look at tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy skies, 30% chances of showers and some possible thunder as well. Temperatures will fall to the upper 70s. Winds will be coming in from the east to northeast, 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight, moderate wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. High tide is today, 9:52 a.m. Low tide, 3:54 p.m. And high tide, again, 9:59 p.m. tonight. Sunset is at 6:31 p.m. Sunrise, 6:13 a.m. bright and early tomorrow morning. Outlook is for partly cloudy skies, along with lightly easterly winds and slight seas from Tuesday evening. This has been your weather update brought to you by Brand Source.
Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings. Babe, not tonight. I need to be rested for all-day meetings tomorrow.
What are you talking about? I was almost asleep.
You keep poking me, and I can't sleep.
That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about. Not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
And looking at our traffic cameras and outside, slow-moving traffic coming in from the east as you head across Lantern Point and the Prospect area. Coming in from the west, not so bad as you come on down from the Ritz-Carlton. If you're in town right now by the Butterfield roundabout, a moderate flow of traffic in all directions. Taking a look at the CNB roundabout, some clear flowing traffic in all directions as well. If you're in town, Edward Street and Shedden Road is clear, and moderate flow of traffic by the Kings roundabout as you head on towards Linford Pearson Highway. Let's quick look at traffic. The Chamber of Commerce Business Excellence Awards are back. Saturday, October 27th at the Ritz-Carlton. Join in as we honor the contributions of the Cayman business community, celebrate the lifetime achievements of an outstanding business leader, and enjoy live musical entertainment. The Business Excellence Awards are proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Commerce, Brit K, Caribbean Alliance, Coldwell Banker, Yellow Media Group, and more. Visit businessexcellenceawards.ky for more info. The Business Excellence Awards, Saturday, October 27th. For tickets, call 743-9129.
In local sports, you're invited to a series of open water training sessions that kick off this afternoon. Triathletes and all open water swimmers are welcome, and organizers say this is a great way to gear up for the November 4th triathlon. Swimmers will focus on endurance, technique, and confidence. The cost for the full 8-week program is $80. Sessions are at Governor's Beach from 5:30 p.m. every Monday. For more information, email info@aliciaproud.com. In international sports, Novak Djokovic produced an impeccable performance to beat Juan Martín del Potro in the U.S. Open final and win his 14th Grand Slam title. The 31-year-old Serb won 6-3, 7-6, 7-4, 6-3 to earn his third triumph in New York and equal American great Pete Sampras' haul of major trophies. Djokovic, who won Wimbledon in July, will climb to third in the world after back-to-back Grand Slam victories. And World Cup winners France enjoy a celebratory homecoming as they paraded their trophy following Nations League victory over the Netherlands. Backed by a party atmosphere in Paris, France began the game and took a deserved lead through Kylian Mbappe. Despite creating little, the visitors, who failed to qualify for Russia 2018, found a way back through Ryan Babel. However, Olivier Giroud's smart finish with 16 minutes remaining was enough to hand Les Bleus the points in Group A1.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I think we have a few callers. Before I go to those callers, I just like to clarify something for my listening and viewing audience. We will not have MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris on with us this morning. He was initially scheduled to do a wrap-up of the Legislative Assembly, a wrap-up talk in terms of what has occurred or what occurred during the Legislative Assembly meeting. First of all, got back late from the BRAC. Second point is that the proceedings of the Legislative Assembly have not yet concluded. They will be meeting. The meeting will continue on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So as a result of that, we're rescheduling his appearance on For the Record so that it will be in a timely fashion that he can talk about the entire meeting of the Legislative Assembly as opposed to the partial part of it. So for those who wanted to talk about the port issue with MLA and Councillor Harris, you will not be able to do that, but we will continue the conversation here as well. We have several callers, and we want to apologize to our listeners in the BRAC. I know they can't hear us because we had some technical difficulties. We had some technical difficulties in the BRAC, but certainly you can stream us online as well. And we want to apologize for that. Still working on that. Hopefully the link will be fixed sooner than later as well. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, you are.
Okay, good morning. I'm sorry I missed Mr. Harris. I really wanted to ask a few questions about the port. But I'll put it out there. I hope somebody from the government is listening. One question I've been trying to get an answer to is the tugs they're going to need. How many tugs they think they're going to need, the cost, and who's going to pay for it. I mean, we talked quite a few $1 million over 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, who is the government getting advice on to build a port in Georgetown? Obviously, they're not listening to the master mariners. They're not listening to the environmentalists. They're not listening to the dive operators. What in the world? I mean, where are they getting any advice from about this port? And the best people that can give them advice, the counselors, are right here in Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I think caller, if I may interrupt for a second, their advice that is required on various facets of the port, financing part of it, the environmental part of it, the feasibility of a port, all of those things. So I'm sure that the government has used resources, and we know that they have used resources of firms for various aspects of it. So I think you have your answer in that. Now, whether or not they're listening to all of the advice that is being given, whether or not they're listening to the local mariners who know the topography of the Cayman Islands, who know the whole issue of wave movements and things of that nature, is another point.
I mean, they must be getting advice from somewhere. You know?
Yes.
The master mariners, the environmentalists, and the operators. To me, that would be the best ones to get advice from.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And one of the points here now is, that's it. Well, I asked about the tugboat. The cost that the money these ships are making from booking tours. Okay? How many people did we have in the last year? A million to hello?
I think it's over a million. I'm not sure if it's 1.2, 1 point something million cruise passengers, and there's some talk about having to reach a threshold of 2 million by a certain period of time in order to make something viable. I'm not well versed in all of that.
But let's also say this.
So can you give us your general position on it? Should we have a cruise pier facility at the Georgetown location? Should we look at other things? Do you feel that it is too expensive? It's going to be too expensive a project for the people of the Cayman Islands? What are your views?
That is so much something nobody seems to be looking at is all the commissions these cruise ships are making off the island here, booking these tours, right? On average, they're booking, let's say, 2 million people. Only half of them can be shore. I didn't get 300,000 out of those, right? And if they're booking these, and they're making like $20 on every one, right? That's a big hefty sum, that money that is not going to the Cayman Islands, the tour operators and the small taxis and buses.
Yeah, well, everything can't go to the Cayman Islands. The cruise ships are not going to promote unless they make money off it as well. My understanding is that they probably get the lion's share of it now, and that is something that we need to look at as well. Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. I want to take the other caller because they were waiting just as long as you were while we were on our news break as well. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. No caller there. I will read one note that I have from someone. Says, good morning, Mr. Connor. I would like to say happy birthday also to our Premier. Belated happy birthday to our Premier. My reason for messaging is to say that Mr. Premier to pick up where Mr. Bush left off in trying to assist Caymanians who cannot afford to get hurricane shutters for their homes. Just lending us money with a signed contract which would allow us to buy shutters, and every month we can pay back. The government can help, and we the people would sure appreciate their consideration. I want to say very quickly, something to take into consideration, but experiences as far as government is concerned, sometimes when people know it is the government that they owe, they are less reluctant to pay back in a timely fashion, if to pay back at all, simply because they know it is the government. And then, of course, when the government tries to put the squeeze on them for payment, then you hear that the government is being hard on persons as well. I believe right now what the government, some government agencies do is they look at those persons who are more vulnerable and who can least afford things like hurricane shutters to assist them and ensure that in the event of a hurricane, their property and, more importantly, their lives are protected as well. I believe that caller has rejoined us. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. I wasn't sure. I was saying hello earlier, but I think it was something crossed up on the line.
Oh, sorry.
I could hear you, but yeah. I just wanted to just make two quick points or a couple points about reporting. I think that it's important that the numbers for last year was record numbers. It was like close to like 1.8 million. But that was only because obviously, other regions within the Caribbean has been under stress from past hurricanes and still rebuilding ports, so a lot of the traffic was directed our way. Mm-hmm. But the reality is I think that, and I don't think there's anybody in Cayman who is advocating for whatever they feel is necessary in terms of, cruise berth. And I think that if you speak to everybody and they understand that we need cruise tourism, nobody's saying that we don't need cruise tourism. I think that we have to create a balance of a cruise tourism with our stayover tourism, so that neither industry, because they're two separate industries, neither industry affects the other to the detriment of its not being in existence, right? So when we look at our infrastructure, I mean, I understand the arguments on the government side and some of the pro-port people side is that we got mega ships crossing us every day, and the potential, because we're not losing revenue because we haven't generated that revenue. That's potential revenue, yes. Right? But the idea and the notion that we're not making any revenue if we don't build a cruise berth and then we won't have ships calling to our port is not the correct information to be put out, because it puts fear and the wrong idea in people's mind who depend on that industry for revenue. But I just want to make very clearly and point out quickly that we have to take into consideration, because we didn't build Stingray City and Sandbar. It's a natural habitat, so we can't expand it to accommodate, right? So if we're going, last year we saw in living color the overbooking of tours getting to it. So some bookings weren't even able to be taken because it was overbooked. There was too many people going to it. And now that they have a limitation as to how many can go out at any given day when the cruise ships are in,
right?
We have to understand what our limitations are. Also, with our infrastructure in Georgetown and other places, we understand that Royal Palm is closing, Hemingway's is closing, Calico's is closing. So the idea is that we're going to pack 10 to 15,000 people on 7 Mile Beach and Stingray City. It's just physically impossible, Mr. Connor. It cannot take place. But
don't we need to look at expanding our tourism product? We still are not fully utilizing places like Pedro St. James, the Botanic Park, the potential that is there. What about quick tours to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman that people could enjoy? You have these what you call fast ferries these days that could go between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman in a matter of hours. Cruise ship passengers could enjoy that experience. I think we need to look more at expanding the product that we have rather than placing the pressure on the few attractions that we have now, placing that additional pressure on them. I believe we lost that caller again, and I certainly welcome that caller to call back. I'll try to continue to talk on along the same lines that he has been talking as well. At one point in time, the narrative was out there that the cruise ships were not going to come to Cayman if we didn't have a berthing facility. Then the narrative changed to where the mega ships would not be coming, and we would lose out on those, as well. That caller's back online, caller. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I'm not sure whose end that occurred on.
No problem. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Mr. Connor. I think that we have to look at broadening our product, and because if you look in places in Jamaica, cruise ships comes in to Falmouth, and the passengers taken all the way to Ocho Rios and Montego Bay and all these places, which is hours away. All I'm simply saying is that as it sits now, what we have available now when it comes to our tourism product from the cruise industry side of it, we need to be able to enhance that, upgrade that, create a better experience, and understand that we cannot go above the limit that we can manage, because then it creates a bad experience instead of a good experience. You know, it's okay for the tour operator and the bus drivers and the head tax and all those things, because the numbers in those areas increase. But then the quality of our product decreases and the experience becomes worse. So we have to do a better job of what we're currently doing. Of course, we need to do a lot of upgrades. I firmly believe we need to put a nice facility at spots. I believe that we should have a jetty in West Bay. But I think that's a good point,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the cruise berthing should be something that we consider down the road, because we're not going to get ships passing us by. I did some research, and I found that the existing ships in our tourism lanes now, which are not the Oasis-size ships, those ships are got 30 to 40 years worth of life left. They're not going to park those ships and turn them into cargo like what most people presume. But anyway, I just want to say quickly, we need to have a balance between the two tourism products. And we have to limit what we can manage, and then we need to grow accordingly. And from an environmental standpoint, that's the essential part, because that's what attracts people to our island.
Caller, before you go, what about the issue of cost and initial ownership and ultimate ownership of the berthing facilities? Now, here in the Cayman Islands, we have prided ourselves in the fact that what we develop, we own ourselves. We have the current dock owned by the people of the Cayman Islands. We have our airport facility owned by the people of the Cayman Islands. We see in other jurisdictions where places like international airports are being run by the private sector or whatever, handed over to them. We have prided ourselves in ownership ourselves. People talk about the cost, $200 million, if it's that, $230 million, whatever. In this day and age, and when you compare the budget of the Cayman Islands, $200 million over a 10-year period, a 15-year period, is really no money at the end of the day. I don't think that we need to scare people about these high costs, because as long as the world continues to exist, the Cayman Islands are going to continue to exist. We all have to live. At the end of the day, we're going to find a way to do that. I don't think people should be scared of the cost. And number two, the fact that we have a good history of owning and financing our own projects, that prayer project, shouldn't it be that the Cayman Islands government find a way to fund it ourselves rather than putting it under the control of someone else?
I totally agree with you 100% on everything that you just said, 1,000%. And I think what we need to pay attention to is that we have the framework for fiscal responsibility in place. So, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I know that we are at the top of our debt ceiling now, where we can't borrow additional money.
But we could put strong arguments for expanding that.
Because the business model works perfectly. Because if a private company is eager to come in to build a port for 25 years, it's simply because the model works. But what I will say is that there's always a lot of banter about how this and how that. But we have $2 billion in pension funds that are owned by the people of the Cayman Islands, and it wouldn't be hard to go to negotiate to the pension providers and say, hey, look, we need $200 million to build this dock. The model say that you could be paid back in 15 years, and then and who are you paying back? The pension providers. The pension, so we'll be able to run and own and collect revenues derived from the port in every aspect from a local base and local money. And I think you're absolutely right. We pride ourselves of being able to, one, self-govern and control our ports. And our ports are essential. We import every single thing that we consume on this island. And the port is a key aspect to the survival of the people of the Cayman Islands. So it's essential that you're right. We need to do about the government need to go with a stern, firm argument with a good business case and say, look, we don't need to privatize this. We need to have ownership control of this port if we're going to move forward with it in all aspects of it. But you're absolutely right, and there's ways to do it. But of course, in most cases, there's always some private interest group that has managed to penetrate the walls of Parliament in order to create some diversion that the people of the Cayman Islands ultimately pay for it but don't benefit from it. Anyway, I thank you for allowing me, Mr. Connor, to express my opinion and share my views. Most people think that I have an agenda, but I just want to know that we have something that the Cayman Islands and its people can benefit from, and we don't ruin our tourism product because a small group of people want to increase their bottom line for a small period of time. Because where do we put a limit on cruise passengers? Because when the pie gets bigger and more revenue is being derived in the tour and operating business, and we don't have no limitations on operators and licenses because we depend on the fees, then it waters back down to that same amount. Then what we do, add another 1 million people.
Yep, caller.
So, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you to leave us there? We have one more caller. We need to take a commercial break. When we return, caller, please hang in there. We'll be back very quickly and take your call.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Did you hear that Vamp Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly. And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Hey, are those new glasses on Will?
Yeah, we went to Optical Outlook. Wham, bam, easy exam. Finally, an exam he could pass. And we had the glasses the next day. Easiest part of our back-to-school shopping for sure.
Book your child's eye exam today at Optical Outlook. Call 746-2020. Save 50% off a complete pair of glasses with any student eye exam. Now extended until September 28th. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook, located in the Caymanian Village. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record with your host, Orrit Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to go to that caller now. And caller, I want to say I apologize again for keeping you so long. I am not on my best behavior today. As a result, I'm not keeping in time with the breaks that we have to take, and sometimes I'm allowing people to talk a little bit longer. I'm going to try to see if I can behave better for the rest of the show, though. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning again, OC.
Good morning again, caller.
Yeah, I wanted to find out if anybody had studied EIA study, you know?
I think that, well, it depends on which one you're talking about. I'm not sure if there's more than one. There was a headline in one of the papers the other day that said representatives from the Department of the Environment, something about them not being included in meetings or not being represented on some body, which was a little bit disturbing to some. But the environmental impact study, I recall hearing some people say unless you can get an expert to say there will be no damage to this, there will be no damage to that, and we guarantee this and we guarantee that they will not support the project.
Yeah, but
it's only science at the end of the day. It is not an exact science. No one can basically say what is going to happen. You can only basically try to minimize the impact by using as much reliable information as you can get. But we have to bear in mind that wherever that expansion of the port or a new port goes, it will have environmental impacts.
We go by. We had one at Miller Hall like a couple years back and stuff like that. And I mean, somebody how to do a study. You just can't go build on a piece of land unless you know that what you got under the bottom. And I mean that's all the concern. But that's what the people really want. And nobody's saying, the government not saying anything about it. So that's all I wanted to find out. Thank you.
Well, caller, I've also heard people talk about on talk shows, call in and say that initial presentation at the Miller Hall was something that they welcomed, and they would like to see more of that being done by the government, whether or not it is done now or whether it is done at a later stage, but they seem to welcome more and more of that. I think what the government should not want to happen is that people believe that this whole development, negotiations, and everything else are shrouded in secrecy. There must be as much transparency as possible, and the people of the Cayman Islands, those who have an interest in it, need to at least feel that their views are being considered, that their voice is being heard and listened to and taken into consideration as well. That is extremely important. Sometimes, people say, when someone wants to talk to you, the mere fact that you're just listening, is important. Just the listening. Okay, we have a new caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning. And yourself?
Good. You were saying in regards to, some new activities and so forth for the East and, Little Cayman, whatever. The cruise ships are going up to the Botanical Garden as it is now, and they are going to Pedro St. James. And they go to the White House in Bordentown.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I think they do the Crystal Cave.
Yes.
Where else did it go up there? They're going that far as that right now. But I was thinking that doing some of that beaching up on the eastern side up there, get some of that dredge out and clean up and so forth to try to take some people going east more to try to throw them off on the 7 Mile, because let me tell you something else. See, a lot of these visitors do not enjoy an overcrowded beach, and I know from experience working with a cruise ship as well as air traffic. The first thing they ask you when they come in is they don't see no boats in the harbor. Sometimes they can see the boats. They do see the boats, and they'll say, "Oh, glad there's no boats in today. And when will they have cruise ships again?" And sometimes I'll say, "Well, we probably have 1 or 2 tomorrow, or there's none for the weekend." And they get excited because they say they just hate when the beach is overcrowded. They can't roam as much as they would like to. But we cannot please everybody. Don't get me wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't please everybody. But people's coming here for the beach, And I think we need to go further east and get some beach cleanup and do some activities going east, because a lot of people is repeat visitors, and if you talk to them, 50% of them is for the beach. But like I said before, I'm not against the pier or the dock, whatever they want to call it, but where they're going to put it, I don't know. But I would hate to know that Georgetown would be the place to build it. I don't care how far out they carry it, but that's the only thing we got left, and it should not be destroyed to that effect. You know, we depend on cargo to bring in our food and so forth. That is a must. That can be upgraded, whatever case may be. But we need to go further east. Same thing with the airport. When they went and put that cap on that airport, there's a half a cap and a half a new airport there. It's not even a brand new airport. They should have considered trying to build that elsewhere and leave that airport for private jets that come in down to that other little section that they call private airport down on the other end of the airport there. Mm-hmm. You know? Or no disrespect to any government, huh?
I was going to say, so your view at this point in time is that the Georgetown Harbor is better. It is better for us to try to preserve that, what is left of it, and go and develop some other area, disturbing some other area, as opposed to trying to do as much as we can with as minimal damage as we can to the Georgetown area, which is already there. We already have a port facility there, a cargo facility there. I understand the concerns of businesses at night, and I think that has to do with logistics, and those things can be worked out, as well.
Yes, I'm concerned about interrupting anymore the Georgetown Harbor downtown Georgetown.
But what about then? What about then going to some other pristine area? If it is the North Sound, if it is Red Bay, even as someone suggested, the Pedro Castle area, you have to then build the infrastructure. We have to improve the road facilities there for the amount of traffic that is going to be heading towards Georgetown and 7 Mile Beach from those areas. Those are the things that have to be taken into consideration as well.
Wouldn't we be doing the same thing for Georgetown to put it downtown Georgetown? We have to do all that downtown Georgetown as well. So six and half a dozen next.
True.
It will still have to be some road work and so forth done downtown Georgetown.
Yeah.
See the whole thing about this. I think what got us, and I know people say about, she is a trader, she's a taxi driver, she's trading against she's a trader against the dock. I'm not a trader against the dock. I love my job, and I wouldn't want to see tourism go down. But the facts remain, all we got left is that little bit of harbor downtown Georgetown.
When you say all we have, no, I wouldn't say that. That's all we have. Some people have commented over the fact that how many areas do you see where you have scuba diving, snorkeling in an area where you have a port as well. We're unique to that point, to that. And both of those things have been able in the past to coexist there. Surprisingly, with not many serious accidents taking place between boaters and divers, but it is unique. But caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. We have to go to a break, and I haven't been on my best behavior in terms of taking breaks. So I'm going to ask you to leave us there. But we have open mic for the whole show, so please feel free to call back as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Can you explain what a less than container load is for shipment and what your minimum charge is?
Sure. A less than container load, or LCL, is any overseas shipment that does not require the full space of a container. At Seaboard, we have great rates for small packages. Just let us know the dimensions of your package and we'll help you out from there.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group provides you with more than just prescriptions. We strive to make your health our concern. We recognize the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care. That is why we offer personalized one-on-one counseling. Our pharmacists are here to assist you with questions you may have about your health and the medications you've been prescribed. With West Bay Pharmacy and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, the Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. We care about your health.
This is Caitlin Tyson, your Miss Cayman Islands Universe. Dementia caregivers are invited to an interactive training course on how to properly care for someone living with dementia. The training will be held on Saturday, the 22nd of September, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Hibiscus Conference Room at the HSA. Please get involved, Cayman.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. One of our listeners has written in and said, thank you so much for the discussion on the proposed port project and for sharing my personal views. They point out that damage to the environment of the Georgetown Harbor must remain a key consideration. And I agree wholeheartedly with that as well. The thing is that while some of this may be politically motivated, many are concerned about the exorbitant costs which will remain for generations to come. Happy for you to air this view. And I agree with that as well. The costs for generations to come. But we have a very, very good track record when it comes to paying our bills. When I say that, when I say we, I say the government and the people of the Cayman Islands collectively in terms of our international debts. Well, most of them are not really international. In many instances, we go to a local consortium of banks here in the Cayman Islands to get most of our loans. We float bond issues out there as well. But we have not only a good history, a good record in terms of our payments, but we have the ability to generate the revenue, the funds, to be able to make these payments. We have good legal structures in place. We have good legislative structures in place to ensure that our political leaders, that our politicians are not allowed to dip their hand into the cookie jar. We have a good record of that. We see in other Caribbean jurisdictions, there's one particular jurisdiction that has a pair facility that is complete. And there are still questions, cost overruns of over $50 million. And people are still asking for accountability in relation to that. There are still questions being asked in relation to that. That does not happen here in the Cayman Islands. As much as you may criticize our politicians or political leaders, that has never happened. Even with the school projects and the fact that we ended up with a few white elephants at the end of the day. What happened there? No one can attribute that to any form of corruption whatsoever. Maybe mismanagement and other things, but certainly not corruption. So we have a good history of that. So again, in the grand scheme of things, $250 million, not a big deal as far as money is concerned. That is, if we are in control of the revenues that come in from that, and if we are in control of managing it as well. Two callers, let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning, OC.
Good morning. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, was on a conference call. Let me jump straight into this.
Sure.
I want to have the amount of money that you have and the level of calm that you have, because if you don't think 200 million or 250 million is a considerable amount of money for a local population that consists of about 35,000 people and a total population of about $60,000, your faith is extremely strong, and you should probably open up a church.
No. What I do, and you're the financial guru, you're in the financial industry, not me. But what I'm looking at history is important. Track record is important. And so far, our track record has been... When Mr. Berkeley Bush was building the dock, the same cries were made. Too much money. It wasn't then. It isn't now.
Again, that's a personal belief, and
Yes.
I understand your allegiance to your job and radio.
No. Has nothing to do with my job whatsoever. I do not have a horse in this race at all beside myself. My views. No other horse in the race.
Sir, what I will say, you can't have monstrosity of Clifton Hunter. We've had the John Gray School laying derelict for about 10 to 12 years. We have the current airport budget of $55 million. We've now surpassed that, and we've got overruns, taking us near to $80 million. Mismanagement is very real when it comes to large capital works projects in Cayman. Remember when the schools were supposed to cost $50 million?
Yeah, I mentioned that before.
No, well, I'm just giving the flip side to the coin there. But what I will say, and we can agree to disagree respectfully, sir. But the fact of the matter is this: there are very few people that have the full information about what the project will look like. When you consider now surrendering your revenue to the financiers of the port project for 25 years, and let's just say that there's the rumor.
My argument on that is that we shouldn't put the control into the financiers of the project. Control should remain in her hands, and we go out there on the market and we get the money.
Well, at that stage, I think I agree with you, because hear me out for a second. If, let's say, they're using the head tax, $5 or $6 a head over a 25-year period, and you're now building a project of $250 million, there's nowhere in the world that $6 a head will pay for that loan over a 25-year period. So there's something else that's missing. And another thing that I'll throw on the fire as to why there's so much confusion. Remember, the government representations were that we will not have any upland development. We will have no additional sort of retail or anybody else controlling it. Suppose you were to find out that there's 50,000 square feet of additional retail space that will be included in the proposed plan. Would that surprise you in any way, shape, or form?
No, it wouldn't surprise me, because if based on what you're saying, that the this whatever dollar per head that we're going to get is not going to do that, then I would expect that the government would be looking for other sources of income to help to make up that shortfall.
And I agree with you again. So lightning is striking twice. But the point that I'm making, sir, is. Hello.
Yeah, we're here.
No, Mr. Sosi.
Go ahead, caller. I'm hearing you. Or I was for a minute.
Okay.
You keep going in and out, caller. I don't know. Are you still?
Mr. Sosi.
There's something wrong with your phone, caller. We're getting a delay. I'm hearing an echo in the background. Are you still on that conference call?
No, sir. I'm listening to you.
Okay, go ahead now. That was clearer.
Okay, Mr. Osi, what I would say is I agree with you. I agree with you and what you just said. And the best way to deal with all of this, I applaud the government for that meeting that they had in July 2015. Let's have another one of those meetings that gives us the full facts. And we can agree to disagree. We all have the facts and the information.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Caller, thank you very much. I think we can accommodate one more call before the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Osi.
Yes, sir.
What happened? I was in line here and put somebody ahead of me.
We don't. I don't know if we have the ability to do that, but that certainly wasn't done. But go right ahead. And if we hit the 9 o'clock news break, we're going to ask you to hold on so that you can continue to talk right after, because that break is only like about a minute.
I'll hang up sound coming right here, Rick.
Go ahead, caller. Okay, we lost that caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, let's see. I got a lot of sick concern the doc. You know what happened? Let me explain what the biggest problem is. We don't have a natural port.
Right.
This port here is only seasonal. Number one. The thing is, how you could destroy Georgetown. When you dig a hole in Georgetown, it got to be refilled. The hole got to be maintained every time fill up. You know what to do, as I wrote before? Take a picture of 7 Mile Beach, because that's where the sun is coming from to fill that hole. On top of that, don't care how many strips and nets you put down for this dredging. The silt and sand will flow from there up the east coast, up around to the Texaco tanks, and all that marine life will be dead.
Okay.
Now listen carefully. We right now have to close the dock on the morning time because you cannot work during the day to unload the ships. This got to be done at night. Now, I'm saying even if the bunch that want to destroy the island continue with it, how will they do that kind of work at all? Because to dredge that called to fill out, to move it from there, also the heavy construction going on, the loading, unloading of ships, where will our cargo come in tow? Now, what I'm saying is this: if you got both the 4 ships, 7 ships comes in here, what happens to the other 3? They still got to stay on the hook. Now, what my point is, it's no advantage to us because you don't have the infrastructure in Georgetown or even on the island to handle millions of people one time, or thousands of people one time. Now, what's coming right now, as you go into the jewelry stores and you see people in there, they walk across and they don't even come back. It would be worse if you put a dock there. They won't even come ashore. What do they do? Just walk ashore and walk back. They won't even buy a pack of chips or a drink, nothing at all, because they don't have to, and it's nothing there in Georgetown to accommodate that quantity of people. Then, on top of that, right now, by them having to go out on the lighters, they have to do other things. That's why I encourage them to go on these tours. On top of that, what we need to do is upgrade the boats that we do unload the people to covered boats that when they get off the boat, they will not know they're on anything else besides same as the passenger ship. And this would improve it, but not to destroy it for destroy's sake, because some foreigner tell you they want to control the island, and they put the Chinese in here. You are ruined, because they're like cockroaches. They come in, but they don't check in, but they don't check out. And when they got the hole on top of you that you obligated to them, where will the revenue come from that they be collecting right now? It go back in the Chinese man pocket.
Caller, do you agree with me that so far in our history we have been able to finance and own whatever projects that the government has decided to move forward on? The people of the Cayman Islands have been able to finance those and control and own them, that we have 100% record in that area?
Coming into play, because what happened when you destroyed Georgetown, where all the diving that was done in that area will never be done again.
Yeah. Caller, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. We have to go to a 9 o'clock break. If you hold on, the conversation can continue afterwards. If not, I welcome you to call back. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Radio Cayman. Headline. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
As the region enters a more active period of this year's hurricane season, staff from the governor's office and Hazard Management Cayman Islands have been testing emergency satellite communications equipment on the roof of the government administration building. The new equipment was obtained by the governor's office following lessons learned in other overseas territories last year when Hurricanes Irma and Maria caused major communication challenges for authorities. The Swedish general election has left the two main political blocs almost tied, with the anti-immigration party making gains on its previous results. With nearly all ballots counted, the governing left-center coalition is marginally ahead of its center-right alliance rivals, with around 40% each. The nationalist Sweden Democrats have won at 18% of the vote, up from 12.3% in the previous election. A protracted battle to form a working coalition now looks certain. And an armed group has stormed the Tripoli headquarters of the National Oil Corporation in Libya. Security forces clashed with the armed men at the landmark building in the center of the city, and blasts and gunfire could be heard by witnesses. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I think that caller is still with us, and I know you recognize his voice, and he, being a businessman, understands that we have to pay the bills. So sorry that we had to interrupt there, but we had to go to that headline news. Caller, welcome back to For the Record. Continue your conversation, please.
What I'm saying is this. Tell me, how are you going to handle the cargo that we live off of? And on top of that, what will happen then to the operation right now and of the diving industry? Because that area is well used by the tourists who's coming here. On top of that, it's not getting when you come off the ship, that you can walk back on, walk back off, and you come and see the few little things that we got here to accommodate them. You is destroying what you got right now. You can make less in what we're making. You make more money, even as a stand, with less people on the shore than a big crowd. Because when the big crowd come, you can ask the storekeepers. They don't make as much, because when people see them in there, they walk on by. And I don't know who brainwashed this bunch that we go again. I thought I would put the bid the other day when it was proven that it was not beneficial to the country. You got some of these well-hid ones want to get some praise for it, and for no advantage whatsoever to the country or the community.
So caller, your point, your point is that the way that the cruise berthing facility is out there now, that we shouldn't do anything in relation to that. Leave it just the way it is. Continue just the way we were going.
No ship across here. What you do, you add some good, instead of using those lighters that you're using now, get proper ones that when the people step off that boat on the lee side, they will think they won't feel any different from they are on the ship. Now, when you're coming off there right now, them boats, type of boats you got, is throwing water on the people and all that kind of thing, because it's not proper boating.
And we've had several casualties where people fall between the tenders and the pier as well.
That's one, because it's not a proper one. You get the boats, the covered one, with the accommodation for that they tied up along the gangway. They step right on board that you don't feel any difference. Even when they use their own boats, it's a difference there. Because I've been with them that they couldn't. That trip up there in Alaska, they got a port there where you don't have any dock, and when you get off the ship, you don't hardly feel any difference.
Caller, what we haven't heard from is, we haven't heard a whole lot from the cruise industry themselves in relation to this. We have heard what they have said, what they have claimed, that those mega ships are going to bypass us. They're going to may possibly change their itinerary, less ships come in here. But we haven't heard from them directly. They certainly, have a lot of stake in this, and they may not feel that it is politically expedient or wise for them to talk to the people of the Cayman Islands, but that would certainly help to put things in perspective as well.
Yes, sir, I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, it's us who's pushing for this thing. I don't know who the minority is, because if any Caymanian going to deal at all with the sea, which all of us have, they'll know that we don't have a natural port here, and it's a seasonal thing, and the boats will still have to go up spots when the nor'westers come, and what the big mega ships you're talking about, they still won't be able to berth there, so they'll be crossing as usual.
What about the possibility of a pier in Northwest Point area there, so that those persons who would want to go to the turtle farm. I know that people don't like to call it a turtle farm anymore. I still call it a turtle farm. Who would want to go there? You don't have that whole issue of transportation, even though you will get people coming in there who would want to go to Georgetown to the shops and stuff. But it also gives the potential for further development in the West Bay area as well. That is, if the people of West Bay wanted that development there. What about that?
That you could put any dock whatsoever. The prevailing winds is from the northeast to the south, and you cannot build any dock on the south side. The only place you could build it would be if you was to enhance the Red Bay area with an extra wall between that and the reef. But what I'm saying is this: we don't need a what do you call it, in a dock built on the island, because the revenue we get now will go into the developer's pocket. And for how many years before?
Well, if we develop it ourselves, that's my argument. If we develop it ourselves, then it's going into our pockets.
No. Listen, O.C., you know full well the amount of money that you're putting out there, by the time you pay interest on top of that, will not pay you back for the damage you have done to the country. Because the damage is done to West Bay Beach. You all don't believe it. But check this, Rochester City. You remember when she came there and she only stuck there for a few, or little bit of excavation was done, and how the sand came from Almond Tree Point and filled that hole in, and Almond Tree Point is still bare right today? Because the sand is a shifting body. It could find that hole could be refilled, and then when it get refilled again, you got to dredge it back out. Now, on top of that, a ship that they're building right now is about 32 feet draft. In order for that ship to float properly, you have to put at least a 40 to 45 feet, 40 to 42 feet deep hole for that ship to come into. And then, when that fill up with silt and sand from the 7 Mile Beach, because the tides can bring it in, as it sweep from the northwest, coming on up, going around Georgetown, your sand is gone. And I wrote them before, and I said, if you want to destroy Georgetown and and destroy West Bay Beach to building up Georgetown, do it, but take a picture of West Bay Beach first and hang in your office, because that's all you have left.
Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. Thank you very much for your comments. I think we've given you a lot of time to air your views, and certainly appreciate it as well. And your position is certainly appreciated as well. One of our listeners has written in and says, I do not agree about the financial management. Local persons cannot afford to live here now. More efforts need to be made to bring this project under better financial control. The John Gray High School Hall is still unfinished. This huge amount of spending will also impact our income debt ratio with the United Kingdom as well. I still maintain that in this day and age, $250 million in the grand scheme of things, to many, it's a lot of money. When you look at it, and when you look at the historical, from the historical perspective, Cayman Islands, the government of the Cayman Islands have always honored their debts, never had to renegotiate their debts per se, and we have a good history of that. Now, talking about, that's credit history, and of course, we have international rating agencies. Now, I know here in the Cayman Islands, we do not have a credit rating agency, so banks deal with personal loans and everything from a different perspective. They look at your job letter, they look at how much you're making, they look at the bills that you pay, that you have to pay, and whether or not, based on all of those factors, you're able to afford a particular loan. They many times do not know your credit history unless it's your credit history with that financial institution, but with others they don't know it as well. But in many jurisdictions and in the big United States of America, they look at credit rating. The Cayman Islands has an excellent credit rating. I don't know if it's AAA at this point in time, but we have an excellent credit rating. As far as the debt ratio is concerned with the United Kingdom, the way it is simply because we are an overseas territory. Mr. Hurlston will say we are a colony of the United Kingdom. They are looking to minimize their obligations, their contingent liabilities in the event that we were to default. So the debt ratios are the way they are simply because the United Kingdom does not want to have to pay the bill in the event that a bill has to be paid. That's all it is. It is set in such a way to restrict what we're allowed to spend. We're not allowed to take risks per se. Talking about debts, look, and I'm not saying that we should get in debt just for the sake of getting into debt. Look at Bermuda. Bermuda's debt over $1 billion, over $1 billion. We here in the Cayman Islands have a good payment history, and there is no reason, with all of the development, with all of the income, and we do it without income tax, without corporate taxes as well, and we pay our bills. 2 callers. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, hello.
Good morning. Go right ahead.
Yeah, morning, Oti. I just, you're talking about this, that the Cayman Islands has a good track record of paying off the debt.
Mm-hmm.
But how they got a track record? Which horse have been beaten all these years for the last 30 years that I know about? Which horse have they been beaten to pay those bills off? Work permit and the cost of living increase. And you know what coming next if this port go down? Taxes.
What evidence do you have that taxes will come next? Why?
What evidence does the government show us that the business plan that they're gonna work in? All they're gonna do is increase the tourists per head. All they're gonna do when things are in abundance, the price of things tends to go down. That's as far as I know it. I'm not an economist or anything, but I just know it just at a layman point of view. When things are in abundance, things tend to go down. The taxi drivers are talking about more people here. They're going to make more money. They're going to move out more and burn more gas, but that doesn't necessarily saying that they're going to make more money because things going to be in abundance, so the cost of things are going to drive everything down, right? Okay. And another thing why I want to say, wasn't there something a couple of years ago that England or the UK implemented on us that we can't do nothing to affect the environment? It came with this financial physical reform that you were just referring to just now.
No, I mean the UK urges us to ensure that we protect our environment, and we have certain commitments in relation to that. But there's nothing that's tied to our finances or a financial agreement with the UK. No, nothing tied to that.
So we haven't proved that because without an entire environment impact assessment study, a new one, there's no way to knowing the damages on the economy. I mean on the environment. But that's all we got to go by. Yeah. If you're not gonna listen to the engineers, you're not gonna listen to the experts in the environment, then you're telling me they could do whatever they want to do and what they say it goes. And we're a bunch of little child that got to listen to what dad and mama say.
No.
That's how that's the approach the government goes.
No. And at the end of the day, there will be some environmental impact. The whole idea is to minimize that environmental impact. The same way that you clear a piece of property to build your house, you're having an environmental impact. If you have to cut down trees in order to put that structure there, you're having an environmental impact. Now, you may decide afterwards that I'm going to plant other trees to make up for what I have destroyed. So you try to minimize that impact and you try to create a balance at the end of the day. And that's what we have to look for in instances like these as well. Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there, though. We have to take a commercial break, and I think we have a few other callers on hold as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you hear that Vant Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly. And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road. While stocks last.
Why don't you get something from the grocery store?
I need something better than any generic quick fix.
You should go to West Bay Pharmacy and have a brief consultation with the pharmacist. I went in last week and within minutes I was back in the car and on the road. And you know what? No more acid reflux.
How long did it take you?
Minutes. Here, give them a call at 945-0777.
West Bay Pharmacy is just around the corner with everything you need in the hours you need it. Visit us today for fast, efficient, and professional service. We are here as a team to assist you while taking care of your health. Call us today or visit our website at caymanpharmacy.com.
Mark your calendars. Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is coming. Sister Islanders, save the date. Saturday, November 24th. Breeze FM and Radio Cayman will be returning to the BRAC for the 3rd annual BRAC Breeze Fusion 5K Walk Run at the public beach on South Side. This year's 5K event will be raising funds for the So and So Club. Registration is only $15 for adults and $10 for kids. For more information, visit caymanactive.com.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have two callers and trying to create that balance that I've been talking about. I'm going to also try to accommodate those who send in messages on our WhatsApp that we so much encourage them to send us text messages or leave us a voice note. It says, Mr. Connor, I think it is time the district of Bordentown is put on the Cayman map. Why is this district always crossed over for government handouts? Well, I wouldn't call them government handouts. I would say maybe government assistance, but government isn't handing you anything. It is all yours. It is all ours. The Bordentown district has two public beaches, the Cowood and the Thomas Russell public beach. Check out the Cowood beach. That is only used for hangout of criminal activities, number selling, drug selling, prostitution. I'm reading as it is, and arrest a home for persons having nowhere to sleep. Why can't that be used to put a dock? Mr. Charles Clifford and his party some years ago had a good plan for that beach. It needs to be utilized for something else other than what it is being used for. Mr. Premier, please consider that. Thank you, listener, for that. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. It's Alice May here.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Very thankful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm seeing a lot of the beach access signs being put up as well in some of the eastern districts, East End, Bordentown as well. Is that's a good thing?
Every step forward is a step forward and encouragement.
Yes.
I mean, yes, we encourage the Public Lands Commission, working with the NRA and others, to continue to erect these public beach access signs, because you know the Concerned Citizens Group. We've been fighting for that for decades. Decades.
Good job.
Still a lot to do, but God is good. We will continue. About the dock, there's so many aspects of this entire discussion that needs to be aired properly. I'll try to be quick. I wish that the House had last week agreed to have a referendum to hear really what the people of Cayman want. We know what they're saying, that they feel they have the mandate, etc. But, it's good to listen to the people who put you in the positions of authority to do what's best for the country. Anyway, that didn't happen. So now they've still got the petition ongoing. However, speaking about the dock, not only the environmental damage, etc., etc., I have a few basic questions.
Okay.
You may have the answers for me. How many cruise tourists do we get at this time? Because I keep hearing that there's been increase and everything is just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How many do we get now at a time?
I think someone pointed out something like about 1.8 million.
For the year.
Yeah.
And then when we get, whether it's 2 or 3, whatever cruise ships in at the moment, we have the thousands coming off by tenders. And because we look in Georgetown Harbour Drive and all the areas there. And the poor tourists, to me, so often look like sheep without a shepherd. They're milling around, standing around there, I guess, trying to get to go and visit the few attractions that Grand Cayman has. And I cannot imagine, for the love of me, what it would be like to have the ships tied up where the tourists can come on and off as they please, and we're going to have 10, 15,000 of them or more milling around in town trying to catch the buses and the taxis and get the places are. Right now, those of us who live here and or stay over tourists find it extremely difficult and unpleasant to try to live our lives with the quantity we have now. And I can't imagine what it would be like if you multiply that several times there.
Carl, if I can interrupt for a second. I've been to Bermuda, Hamilton, Bermuda. They have the cruise ships that come in. They have some that come in, dock there. There are some that go into a place called Dockyard. And those that are in Hamilton, no congestion whatsoever. No congestion whatsoever. And I would imagine that if the birthing facilities were to be built out there, that is why what the whole revitalization of Georgetown is all about. It has to go hand in hand so that you don't have the congestion. Yes, we may have to reroute vehicular traffic, and we need to that has to be taken into consideration. I don't want to take away from your time, but I just want to point out that Bermuda has ships docking in there and there's no crowd.
Is Bermuda
and
one little island?
Smaller than we are.
Yes, yeah, I know that.
But they have several locations for docking. They have St. George's, they have Hamilton, and they have a place called Dockyard. Right.
And we have our Hogside Bay there,
yes.
and we have our spots, because I'm thinking, if we're going to have about 5, 6, 7 or whatever ships coming in per day, whatever amount of them, why not make the spots landing a much more comfortable and attractive site, that you can have some ships coming into the Hogside Bay area and others going around to spots. Mm-hmm. Then the spots cruisers could be taken on the eastern tours and things like that, while the Hogside Bay ones, they do as they do now. But one thing I remember from school, and I don't believe it's gotten any bigger, we were told as little children and older that Grand Cayman was 22 miles long and 8 miles wide at its widest point. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's grown much. It may be gotten smaller. But I have to think also of the various attractions that the tourists now visit. How many attractions do we have? Because if we get multiples of tourists coming, where are we going to take them to enjoy the beauty of our little paradise?
Mm-hmm. Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. We have 3 callers. I'm not sure we're going to be able to accommodate all of them for this show, but we're going to try as best as we can. We're going to ask the rest of them to be as brief as possible, but we still want you to get your point across. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, just one question, Ms. Osi.
Quickly.
Hello?
Very quickly, your question. This is your second.
Oh, yeah. See, something that I want to say, I'm going to be brief with it. The thing is that we've talked about this dock for I don't know how many different governments had. But we have a situation where everyone's an expert and nobody does anything. What has happened is we realize that the only place to dock should be a safe harbor. Because when we're at dock right now, we get the nor'wester or any kind of inclement weather, nobody can come in, no ships can, the people that the ships are bringing the cargo and stuff like that, and the food and the this and that, they don't have any place. They have to wait till the thing is over. Meanwhile, people are starving for food and stuff like that in the island. My point is this. Some time ago, they had a guy, an Englishman that came down here, and he suggested that we do this thing in the North Sound. I repeat this again and again. The only place for a safe harbor is in the North Sound.
Okay. Caller, thank you very much for that. Got your point on that. North Sound, your preference. Last caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, am I on now?
Yeah, you were on before, but we lost you for some reason.
One quick question. They say it costs $200 million. But with the interest, are we going to get an interest-free loan? Or we actually have to pay back like $500-600 million? Right? That's all I want to say.
Well, these days, even if you're getting a loan from a family member, you're probably not getting it interest-free as well. So you're going to have to pay one way or the other. But again, my point is we have a good history of paying our bills. We have the ability to do so. We do so without income tax, despite, some of the skeptics who believe that income tax is going to be introduced in the Cayman Islands if these birthing facilities go forward. We have no corporate tax, no capital gains taxes or anything of those natures. There are many, many people, many businesses that are living high off the hog here in the Cayman Islands as a result of no taxes. So ability to pay. I'm going to close the show today by saying, yes, we're talking about the cruise ship berthing facilities. We're talking about environmental impacts, talking about impacts on the environment and basically the marine environment. I think everyone's concern is about. How many people are talking about the use of plastics in the Cayman Islands? Do you know that there are jurisdictions now that no longer use plastic straws, no longer allow plastic straws to be used? Have we looked at that here in the Cayman Islands? What about all of the damaging styrofoam? Every one of you that go to a takeout restaurant during the course of your day, what happens? Have you asked the question, what happens to that styrofoam container that you just ate your food out of? Have you ever wondered how much damage that is being done to the environment? Those of you who are talking about environmental damage, and we all have our concerns about those, and we have to balance the environment with the fact that there are human beings who live on this planet as well. So we have to be able to ensure that the humans as well as the other forms of life exist in the Cayman Islands. But let's start to seriously think about all of the other amenities that we, so-called amenities that we enjoy here in the Cayman Islands. The throwaway mentality that we have, that everything can be thrown away, but yet we complain and we criticize the size of the dump and everything. How many of you have personal concerns about using a plastic straw or eating from a styrofoam container that has to be disposed of? Government, maybe you want to look at those issues as well. Let's see how much support you'll get for those also. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, for having such a lively discussion with you this morning. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne. Let me start that all over again. Join Sterling, Dwayne, Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands, which we cherish, which we want to preserve for future generations, and do our part to make this world a better place than we found it.
For the Record is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking and pension needs, call or visit a Fidelity branch today. Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. And Cayman Pharmacy Group, with locations in West Base and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. And Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling Seaboard Marine at 949-4977.
Some